All beliefs are limiting, but we get to decide whether we are limited by mediocrity or excellence. I'm Kelsey Evans and this is Life Talks Live. Welcome back to the 7-minute breakthrough revolution. Once upon a time there was a boy and he was called Brazilian Beast, and he lived far, far away in the south, in a place that was full of plastic people who all had similar faces. This place was called Highlight Reel. Now, Brazilian Beast wasn't his real name, obviously. It was a nickname that had been given to him by someone very special to his heart, Nutcracker. She called him BB for short, and he called her NC. BB had grown up in a family that was tainted with abuse and toxicness. His father used to beat his mother every single day, and he felt completely helpless because he couldn't help his mother when he was a child. He couldn't stop her from being abused. And from that day on, he never felt deserving of love because he felt like he couldn't save his mother and he wasn't good enough for love in any other way. But he longed for love. He longed so much, like we all do. He longed for love and he couldn't get it out of his mind. So he decided to go in search of that love. And after a few months of searching, he found someone. He met someone. He met Gigi. He absolutely adored Gigi. She was everything he could have imagined. And they spent every single day together for the first few months that they were together. But after a while, BB got called up to the army. And BB had to go and protect all the plastic people from Highlight Reel. So he got sent far, far away to the north. But him and Gigi made a promise that they would stay together forever. And that BB would come back, and when he did, they would be together and they would start a family. So months and months went by, and then it was time to come home. BB was so excited that he was going to get to see the love of his life again. He ran to the door to see her. But there was something wrong. Gigi's face wasn't as happy to see BB as he was to see her. And he knew that, he could feel it, he could sense it. So she told him that the months had been too long, she had been alone for too long, and she had found comfort in the arms of someone else. She had found comfort in the arms of BB's best friend. This broke BB's heart. He was devastated, but he didn't cry. He wouldn't let himself cry. BB got angry. He blew up in an enormous rage and he pushed Gigi into the wall and he ran. He kept running and running as far away as he could from Gigi because he hated himself. He couldn't believe that the one person he loved, the one person he had put so much time and energy to, had betrayed him. She'd let him down and she'd broken his heart. And he made a vow to himself that he would never open his heart to someone again. And as time went on, he stayed cold and he stayed to himself. He didn't let anyone else in his life. But he still ached for love. He still wanted to have that companion. So BB once again went back out in search of love. And after a few months of searching, he met NC, Nutcracker. She was so different to anyone else, anyone he had ever met before in his life. She had this light about her that just made him feel alive. He felt wonderful when he was round her, but for some reason, he wouldn't let her into his heart. He couldn't open up to her. That was until one day when BB had been on a night out and got very, very drunk. And he contacted NC and he confessed to her that he loved her, that he'd always loved her from the day they first met, that he'd never ever loved anyone like he'd loved NC, and he never would in his whole life again, because she was so special. She was a light soul in the dark world. And NC, to his surprise, agreed. She felt the same way about him. She told him how much she loved him and how much she wanted to be with him and how she just hoped for this day to come, but she wasn't sure because he never would let her in. And that night, they were both so happy, so happy. But then the next morning, everything changed. BB woke up stone cold sober. And his limiting belief that he wasn't good enough and he wasn't good enough for love came creeping back into his mind. He told NC he couldn't do it. He told her that it would never work, she would end up hating him, and he just didn't believe in love anymore. He pushed NC so far away from him to protect himself because he was scared, because he didn't feel good enough. She tried so hard, NC tried so hard to convince him. She was like, "But I love you, BB." She even got down on her knees. She bared her soul to him. But he still said no. He still pushed her away because he didn't believe he was good enough. And in his own mind, he thought by pushing her away that he would give her a better life because she would be free. She would be completely free to go and meet someone amazing, someone just as amazing as her. And that would make him so happy because she would have found someone perfect, someone right for her. But what he didn't realise was that NC believed that BB was right for her. She didn't want anyone else but him. But he couldn't see it. He was so blinded by this limiting belief that he held that he wouldn't let all this goodness in. He pushed it away. And then NC, she started to question how amazing she really was. Because if someone she loved and someone who told her he loved her that much could push her away, then was she really that amazing? I'll leave the story there, and I'm not going to tell you how it ended. But what I will say is that BB's limiting belief of not being good enough, all of our limiting beliefs of whatever it is, not being good enough, not being good enough for love, for careers, for success, it doesn't just harm us, it harms the people we love. You see, BB thought he was doing the best for NC. But in doing that, in listening to that limiting belief, he broke her heart. And that's what can happen if we don't face these limiting beliefs, if we don't smash them out of the water, and if we don't decide to change them, we're going to hurt the people we care about the most. And if that's not motivation to get rid of them, to remove them, to replace them, whatever you want to call it, then I don't know what is. If the ones you love and you really love them, then use that as motivation. Use that as motivation to change, to stop sabotaging yourself, to make a promise to yourself that even if you're scared and even if you don't feel good enough, that you'll do it anyway. That you'll go out there and you'll do it anyway. You'll stop limiting yourself and you'll replace your beliefs with ones that serve you better, with ones that are going to get you to excellence, with ones that are going to get you to love, with ones that are going to get you to success. Just replace them. Switch that belief, question it, because more often than not, it's not true. In the story I've just told you, BB didn't believe he was good enough for love, but he was, because NC loved him. She loved him with all of her heart. That belief that he held was bullshit. It wasn't real. It was all in his mind that he'd made up from past experiences, from the abuse of his family, from being cheated on. He'd used all this as evidence, as backup for his belief. But that doesn't mean that it's a fact. It doesn't mean that it's real. You make it real. We make our beliefs real by what we decide is true or false. So if that's true, if we make it real, if we can make ourselves believe that we're not good enough, then we can make ourselves believe that we are amazing beyond anything imaginable. Anyway, I hope you've liked my talk this evening, and if you've got any questions on limiting beliefs or any other topics that we discuss, feel free to send a message to lifetalkslive@info.com, Life Talks Live Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram. Keep messaging us and send us your questions and send us your ideas, your queries. If you've got a problem, if you have a limiting belief, send it to us and we can help. We can address it in some of our videos. Have a lovely evening and I'll see you again next week.